Alright. Because honestly, I don't know. Let me put this up here. Honestly, I don't know how long I have today. But we need to get this started, because if I can get the parts on this done that I want, I'll have my Rampager ready for this upcoming weekend. Which is July 4th weekend. I'll be up at my friend's house. Hopefully I'll be able to play some games at the store. But I do think my adjustment to my Chaos Knights Infernal Lance list are going to end up being pretty good. I'm starting at the worst possible time for streaming, since most people are usually leaving at 3. So my metrics are gonna be god-awful. Oh, yeah, there we go. Hang on. Hopefully that holds. I actually have a glove this time. Oh, I need to get my cleaning. Definitely need the white primer. White primer is gonna be pretty key. Cleaning solution here. Black primer. Okay. Dump cup. Always important. Getting kind of full. Haven't used the airbrush in a while, so let me get a little of that in there. Make sure main nozzle area is clean. This airbrush is really, like, it's holding on. It's doing good. And I do really like how easily accessible it is to clean. So that's nice. I'm kind of realizing there's like a drain spot back here. Because, like, you don't want the paint to come out of this and then go down here. So this, having just like an open gap like this is kind of nice. But yeah. Today is primer day, potentially into base paint day. / gold starting paint day. So we've got a lot we can do. And I got gloves this time. I remembered. gloves feel very small on my hand. So this actually kind of sucks. Hopefully we get some people in chat in like an hour or so. Hopefully I've got enough black primer. It feels pretty light. Let's get the main body done. I didn't figure out how to magnetize the one gun yet. I have an idea. But this is one of those situations where I plan on using this guy as a rampager. So honestly, the gun doesn't really matter as much. Definitely some dried paint in the barrel. Just gotta work its way out. We're already like almost through the pot. Jesus Christ. We are going to need to spot check him. To clear the needle out once this is empty, or once this is through, or the needle housing, the front tip. It's definitely just a reoccurring clog. Ugh. Let's let this dry for a little bit while we clean the nozzle out for potential clog. I thought it was empty because normally when it's like clogged but then it starts going, it's like, oh well, it must have made its way through or broke down or something. But if it's still acting a fool, maybe we have to pull this thing apart. Coming from. All right, let's get this cleaned up a little bit. I feel like there's like goop down there. Yeah, there it is. Just a little bit of goop. Although there might be more. Let's find out. check the actual housing. Yeah, really nothing in the housing. Might have just been the goop on the neck. Always remember to clean your airbrushes, kids. Okay. Where'd I put that cup down? Ah. Cool bean. Let's see what we've missed. So we know what to tag. A bit back there on the back leg. Maybe a bit more on this undercarriage. Got to get back into here in this region. I think I will scooch that. Oh no. Not that far. We don't really need to scooch that much further than that. A little bit more on the head area. So a little bit around the legs, a little bit on the undercarriage. Oh, dude, Infernal Lance. Ridiculous. I definitely don't want to use the Abominant in it. I do think the Abominant's still really good. Definitely a much better version than its old version. That almost goes without saying. He hit a Tau player hard enough that the Tau player immediately focused on the Abominant instead of like everything else that was in his face. I lost to that guy though, which was awesome. Tau's still really good, and I'm kind of happy to see that. I get that a lot of people are like, ew, Tau, but like, it's enough of a difference that you have to kind of think. Puzzles are no fun when the way to solve the puzzle is the exact same every time. But yeah, Rogue Trader tournament. I did better than any Rogue Trader tournament I've done before at this one. Now, granted, there are some caveats. I gotta put primer down or else my texture paste won't easily stick to the surface. There we go. There are some caveats to that tournament. A little bit of an asterisk. The people running it definitely had a lot more terrain. They were a lot better together in terms of what they had access to, what they needed to show people, blah blah blah. Like it was a good one. It was a good one. Much better than last time. But, and this is kind of big, I don't think they really know how to like do the tournament terrain. I know that they found the they definitely found the Pariah Nexus packet. They definitely found that. And they have access to it. Okay. This black primer just, I might need to put like thinner in here or something. Like flow improver. I think the black primer is just drying fast. But yeah, I don't think they know everything about it. They don't have the full grasp. Because some of the maps we were on were like, what is this? The layout for the terrain was quite possibly the worst. One of the Pariah Nexus maps is pretty much all buildings that run parallel to the short sides. Which, that's fine when you're doing, like, ladder deployment or, like, diagonal deployment. That's fine. But they did Dawn of War. They did the long side deployments. Which, that was a bit much. Because very much long side deployment on that map, whoever goes first just has the biggest advantage. Like, more advantage than any one army should possibly have in that situation. I'm getting a message about this weekend. Okay, good. Like, absolutely the biggest advantage. I'm gonna go grab flow improver. Now, absolutely, you just gotta like run with the rules, but I imagine most people that went there built lists based around kind of like their knowledge, their before knowledge of how tournaments work and how terrain layouts work. Because there were some people there who were just like, I don't have a lot of shooting, but I'm designed to sort of sit in buildings and threaten areas. And if you can crack that threat, good for you. You know, here's a cookie. But if the mission is literally you're fighting Tau as Custodes, and you have one guy that's long ranged, and the Tau is all long range and tanks, good luck. So my match was my Infernal Lance, which was very heavy on range shooting, with also a lot of really good rushdown. Like, I feel like my Infernal Lance list at this point, the new updated version, is very balanced between rushdown and ranged. Come on. Very balanced between rush down and ranged. At least I feel. So when I got put round 2 against Imperial Guard Jail, which was a cool list. Absolutely a cool list. Probably would do insanely well in general tournaments like this. Well, decently well. A lot of it is about risk taking, but the redundancies are built into the defensive dice. But he couldn't have had a worse matchup in that situation. Like, he outright could not have, well, maybe the Taoists, but he couldn't have had too much of a worse matchup, because a lot of what he was relying on was, like, super benefit of cover. Like, he got, like, basically a double stack of it, taking him to basically 3+ saves in a lot of situations, I think it was, because it's, like, 5 to 4 to 3, so then the AP goes the other way, which is really cool. That's a really cool concept for a list. Except when my despoiler pops through the wall and I put ignore benefit of cover on his 36 shots with sustained 1. That's just a different universe. To put it into some context, I decided to go fixed against him because I was actually a little worried. By the way, we're playing Pariah Nexus, but I was a little worried that he was going to be in positions that would have made it impossible for me to score certain missions, so I wanted to try to max score, and I figured the best way to do it with my kill potential was to exclusively focus, for the most part, on exclusively focus on Call the Horde. That was huge for me. I managed to get full Call the Horde by turn 2 into his list, because he had so many 20-man squads, and I had so much damage output of, like, shots and damage overall. I wiped most of what he had out on the field. Anything else he still had was at leadership -2 by turn 3 and taking battle shocks, and it's not good. He couldn't out-OC me anymore. Like, it was done. That map ruined so many people's lives. The first people playing on it, when I got to it, I was like, oh my god, what is this? And the person who played on it first round was standing right next to me, and he went, I know, it is one of the worst maps. I felt so bad for him, too, because he fought the Tau player that won the whole thing. And that was an 100 to, like, 20 match. Because his list was not ready for Tau seeing everything in his army turn 1. That was not the thing for him. It was not good. Actually, we'll do this in white. So yeah, he like was not ready for that moment of turn 1, all your stuff's dead. Best viewers. Hiya. And then round 2, the Imperial Guard player wasn't ready for Knights to table him by turn 3. And then round 4, or round 3 rather, or I guess game 3. It was Custodies versus the same Tau player that 120'd the first guy on that table. So that Tau player kind of got a cakewalk to first, which, yeah, is what it is. But I made a mistake. A mistake that cost me dearly. I was nice. And it's a mistake that keeps plaguing me my whole life. I try so hard not to be. But it's just, I don't know, man. It keeps happening. Round 1. Fighting a Necron player. Good dude. Good dude, definitely. Will not deny him that. Good guy. Would play again. Right, I have no qualms there. He conceded turn 3. I didn't know protocol. Cause like I have done some RTTs, but I feel I still have that like mentality of like I'm not a frequenter of these things, so I don't know the protocol. So if he concedes, like what is that? Do I take 100 points and he takes 0? Is that a thing? Do we have to talk it out for points? Questions, questions, questions. Cause I'm just unaware. There's a level of ignorance. So I assumed concede is concede. I don't know why my brain didn't click. Well, okay, I do know why my brain didn't click for this. But at the end of the day, there's a reality where I needed to remember in that moment that this is a tournament that requires the points values for your victories. Requires them. So even if you're conceding, you need to figure out what the endgame score would be, if possible. Okay. That is very important. Because when I put in a score for my first round of like 34 to like 28 and thought, yeah, that's fine. That was me securing a spot not in top 3. That's what happened there. That's on me. No one else. It's on me. Me and my dumb brain. We'll do this in gold as well. Because what should have happened is I should have talked it out. And it was Ritual. He was almost completely off the board. I still had, I think, 3 or 4 units left. I could have created more Ritual spots. I could have max scored Ritual for the next 2 rounds, easily getting 20 points per round. And then factoring that into what the endgame scores were for everyone else who was 2-0, I took second. Had I scored my first game properly, I would have taken second. I might have also been put into a different person for round 2. So there is that layer of like, maybe, right? Like, probably shouldn't have painted that side. Like, there's still that level of, like, I mean, if I did score that out properly, maybe I would have been put into the Tau player instead. The one that was, like, destroying people. It would have maybe been on the map that I played on into the Imperial Guard player, which I dominated him on, but against the Tau player, I can't hide any of my knights. If he gets turn 1, it's over. He's just going to railgun half my knights off the field, and then that's like, well, there you go. We tried. So there's layers. There's layers to it. I certainly wish I had been paying attention better to at least the scoring. Because had I been, I might have actually been able to pick up the box of War Dogs. They had 2 boxes of War Dogs there. And I was looking at them, and my first thought was, if I win this, I'm getting those War Dogs. The big one, like the battle box. Because, yeah, there was a first, second, and third place prize. Dude, this nap. Just coming out of nowhere. And, yeah, just, I keep thinking about it. I keep running it in my head. All it needed was that one defining moment. What's up, Phoenix? I'm noticing that the YouTube chat is not in my multi-chat. Let me try to reconnect. Yay, nay. See live docs. Maybe just YouTube chat on a live doc. Okay, I mean, it sees the YouTube chat, but multi-chat's not working. Alright, I'll just have to pay attention. What's up, Phoenix? What you doing? What's going on? I wonder if I can... Yeah, there we go. How you doing? I'm still decompression mode. Changes to my Infernal Lance list, though. Abominant is out. I do feel the Abominant is still a good pick, just not in my list. Infernal Lance very much shines the most when in the clutches of, like, all carnivores. Carnivores are just too powerful in that list. They're very effective at getting around, scoring where they need to score, getting to units easier than anything. Like, they're just... It's one of the easiest things in the world to run a carnivore and get into combat by turn 1, if not turn 2. If you really want your go phase to, like, start with a bang, you could just send one carnivore across the field and just be obnoxious. Spring cleaning. Nice, nice. I heard, yeah, Conquest. I heard Conquest is doing good. Conquest is another one of those moments, though, of, like, I'm starting to hear about it, and people are like, oh, yeah, I played Conquest. It's really good. And it kind of feels a little like the Trench Crusade concept, where everyone's, like, really talking about it. But it's not being talked about in a way where I can assess it as, like, it'll be more than a local store / like, your house situation, right? Like, it's gonna be kind of limited in its reach, I feel like. But maybe not. Maybe they got a plan. They were demoing it a lot at the convention I was at, so maybe it actually has a decent shot. Because, I mean, they were demoing that. They weren't demoing Trench Crusade. So it just feels different. But I heard at least the rules were good. Like, the rules felt good. Which is, you know, always a good start. It's a lot harder to get someone to be like, man, the rules are horrible for this game, but I'm definitely playing more. It's way harder to get that to work. So definitely coming from a good spot. Ooh. It is difficult though. It's been like this crazy year that we could almost like write dissertations on when it comes to like new games appearing in the scene and what they do. Because consider, right? Like, consider Lorcana doing all of what it did to be like, hey, we're here, we're a big new game. Like, consider that. If you had asked me when it came out, is this going to stick around? I would have said yes. I don't hear about Lorcana anywhere near as much as I still hear about Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I hear about Yu-Gi-Oh! More than Lorcana still. That might be my bubble, because I know a person named Mystic Ryan, and he's a huge Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan. And I did just spend an entire weekend at a convention with him. So, that might be me. That might just be my bubble. And if so, apologies. What up, Brosh? Oh, Broshi. I saw you rejoined the Discord. I guess you were hacked? Were you hacked before? Because according to Rax, like, he was getting spam from you. I saw you try to friend me. I don't normally friend people, so don't take it wrong if I don't friend you. It's not that I'm like, why'd you try to friend me? It's more like, I just don't do it. Because of the, like, the hacking thing and, like, how easy it is to just get a link in your messages and then accidentally click it. I try to just minimize the amount of people I have on my friends list. But yeah, I saw that you popped back in, so welcome back. We're pretty sure that you were hacked, so it's no like, we're angry you did that. No. Like that, we get it, man. I was there when Fringe's account got hacked. I think it was Fringe. Yeah, it was Fringe's account. I was there when Wood accounts got hacked, so it happens. Discord does not have the greatest of security. Alright, let's just get the rest of my primer out, I think. Oh, here. Hell yeah. Just enough. Oh yeah, I hear it's good though. So if you have people local to you, Phoenix, to play it, that's awesome. I think I've seen Conquest on the shelf at my local for a very long time, but this is the same local who doesn't want to run tabletop games. Like, that's probably the worst element I think local to me is the store that's like, hey man, We want to sell you Conquest. And then you go, cool, when do you guys run games for this? They go, never. And you're like, well, then I'm never buying this from you. I don't know a store running it, so, like, that's on them, man. That's on them more than anything. They do not have the right attitude anymore as a local game store. They used to with their old owner. Their new owners are just like, fuck it, we don't only play card games. We don't want to do anything else. It's like, oh, dude, you guys are going to die. You guys are going to die in like 5 years. Because you're still running off of the success the store had like decades ago for 40 years. With the old owner. You're still running off that. It's gonna go away. And if you guys are not, like, gonna try to grow these communities at all, you're gonna die. Like, you have to cast a wide net. You have to pull as many people in as possible who are interested in stuff. You have to run events. Or at least provide enough information to let people run their own events in your space. Wait, bros, you did rejoin, right? That was you with the 3 eyes that joined? Or is this like the bot account again? Like, I think you just rejoined like a couple days ago. But yeah, like, it's the same thing as okay, that was you. Okay, good. It was the same thing as War Machine, right? They put the section for Conquest right next to the Warhammer 40k section so that they could, you know, churn people that way if they wanted to. And it's just similar sales pitches, I guess. But just that reality of like, there's nowhere for you to play it. That's like a meeting space. It feels so bad. And then if I'm in that store and they're like, do you know a place for Conquest? All I can say is no. But I do know like 5 places for Warhammer. There's 2 comic shops that are very close to each other. There's the Warhammer store itself. There's a store further south from here that runs tournaments every Saturday, like first Saturday of every month. Like, I'm just spitballing. Yeah, there's Warhammer communities. There's no Conquest communities. This store could start one, and it would probably work in their benefit, but they just don't want to do it. And every time I go in the store, the people working there are just sitting up front watching YouTube videos of, like, retro games. It's so weird. Like, when I say retro games, I mean retro video games. And they watch playthroughs. Like, they're not just watching, like, hey, man, do you remember this game? They just want to watch playthroughs of old games. Because they're like, oh, yo, you see this old Mud? You see this old Mud game? It's really cool. It's like, dude, you guys need to, like, get something going. If all 3 of you are sitting up front in your store for an entire day on a Saturday, why is one of you not running an event and back? Why is one of you not going, oh, man, we put out the info for that Conquest tournament we wanted to do. Like, for today, we put it out a month ago because it's our fucking store. We have boards for that. We can post that up. And now we're going to run it, and there's, like, this big turnout for it. Now everyone's buying our Conquest. No, you're sitting up front watching playthroughs of retro games. Like, what are you doing? But hey, that's just me. I'm a layman. Maybe they know what they're doing. Probably not, though. Probably not. So our next hit, I think, is going to be white primer, because we got to white primer a ton of this stuff. The thing is, that store is a piece of history in the area. That store is in its original building from like 60 years ago. That store was a mainstay for everyone because I live in a college town. Everyone in that college went to that store for D&D, for Cyberpunk, for all Warhammer, all of it. They went there for regular board games. They had nights where they did like Catan games with like tons of tape. Jesus. Tons of like randomly assigned tables. They played, like, that store was the pedigree. The pedigree of that place was incredible. And now we just do Pokemon and Magic the Gathering tournaments. And that's it. No setup needed, so. So now, like, there was this new store that opened close to one that's like 30 minutes from here. And everyone was excited, and then the guy got caught doing some very illegal stuff. And it closed down, and everyone in the area was like, oh my God, I hate that it closed down. Simply because that was like another space where there was going to be tons of like, the boards were really good, like the play area was really good, and everyone was super excited to be able to spread out a little more with their games, meet new communities and stuff, because this one place that's in between all of the locations I know and is perfectly located like 2 minutes down the road from me just doesn't want to do it. Yeah, man, it sucks so much. And like one of the bigger problems is that the way they talk about it with new customers feels almost like we don't want you here. Like it, oh, I gotta do a little bit of this. It's got a little bit of that attitude of like, get out. Like, I was in there looking at some stuff on the wall. Someone came in and was like, hey, me and my friend, we want to play a kill team round. We're meeting up here. And I had to hold back. I really shouldn't have. But I was like, yo, when you guys showing up, I'll run to my house. I'll get my stuff. But right before I was thinking of saying something, the guy who ran the store was like, yeah, I guess you can play that if you want, but you're going to need to be out of here by 5 because we've got D&D stuff coming in. And it just felt so bad when I was standing there. It's like, dude, I know your back room. I know you've got like 30 tables back there. Kill Team takes up 1 table. You think you're going to have enough people for D&D to fill all the other tables? Last time I talked to someone, you had 2 tables running. Why are you telling a Kill Team game to get out of your store? You have Kill Team products. I'm pretty sure you want to move them. Maybe the people playing D&D will see these 2 guys playing Kill Team and think, yo, what's this? Can I pick it up? It seems fun. And then we can take up one of your days that you don't have D&D and card game stuff scheduled to make a Kill Team / 40K community. And then you might start selling the stuff off your wall to people who aren't trying to scalp. Just saying. Alright, we gotta do the white primer. White primer is gonna need to be on everything over here. It just makes me sad. Because I was there for the heyday of this store. The heyday was incredible. I remember going there for the battle for Armageddon, like the war for Armageddon. I was there for that. I remember going to tournaments. I think they did it second Saturday of every month. I would go to those. Got back into Kill Team. Yeah, you have to show and play what you sell. You have to. Like, you don't have to play it personally, but you have to be able to set something up. Like, I am there usually 2 days out of the week looking through 40K and Kill Team stuff. The fact that none of them have come forward to be like, yo, what do you think you could, you think we could like run an event maybe? We could try something? Because I've talked to them. I talked to them directly. I was like, do you think think there'd be a possibility where like I could make like a flyer and then maybe work with you guys to pick like a day in a month to try to see if we could do like a community thing? where it's like a kill team tournament for a day, and they were like, we don't really want to do that. It's like, dude, you guys are idiots. I got nothing for you anymore. Like, I'll buy your stuff because I can get good deals once in a while, but I don't know, man. To be so adamantly opposed to making money just seems insane to me. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the guys that go there to play D&D, they're not buying anything from them. They have their books. They're done. They're not buying the models to show on table. They just go in the back, sit down with some paper and some books that they've owned for like 2 years now. And then pay a monthly fee for the app. Maybe. And that's it. Like, that store makes no money off of those people. And they're more interested in that for some reason. Let's get this white primer down. No, yeah, I expect it. So I play Thousand Suns, and once in a while I'll go in there because I'm hoping to get some like Thousand Suns stuff that I don't quite have yet. They don't have it. They have the same box for the Thousand Suns they had like a year ago. It's one box of rubrics, and that's it. That's all they have. They have nothing else. Space Marine 2 came out. Right? Like, Space Marine 2 came out. And they did not have the forethought of being like, hey man, Thousand Suns are the villain in this. We could get people to come in this store and be like, yo, let's buy those Thousand Suns. They didn't have that mindset. The guy at the Warhammer store I go to did. He's had the hardest time keeping anything in from the Thousand Suns for like the past year. So many people come in, they're like, oh, they look so cool. I remember them from the game. There's so many new people that play Thousand Suns right now at the store. Like, D&D is good, and it's a good tool. It's just like, I don't know. D&D is one of those weird things with game stores, because once you buy the books, you're good, right? Like, you're good for a very long time. And I know Wizards wants you to just pay for their app. That's the main thing Wizards wants you to do. This needs to dry. I don't know if they run it the same way that Games Workshop does, where you have to have the book in order to get the info in the app, or if you just pay the monthly for the app and you just have the app. At that point, like, what are you buying at a game store? You're buying dice? Cool. Cool beans. Like, good. Good. I actually ran into one of the people that I see very often near this local store that's right down the street from me. I ran into him over there, and he was like, "Oh, dude, you live in this area?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, I live like 2 minutes from here." I was like, "Oh, cool, man. We should get some games going." And he was like, "Oh, maybe." I think even he knew. I think even he knew that, like, talking to those people about running games at that store was miserable. Just misery incarnate. But yeah, D&D is, you say you're doing it in class? It's pretty fun. I know a couple people who they're part of this group that uses D&D for social, sort of like social psychological stuff. Like they work with kids with social disorders, and they try and help them through interactions in D&D. It's like a whole big psychiatry thing. The use of role play for behavioral correction. Which is a pretty neat idea. IMO. Yeah. Touch these up at the end. Yeah, I agree with my local store that Magic and Pokemon keep the lights on for them. But the history of how like games like Warhammer and D&D even came to exist. This is one of those like learn from history situations, right? Because the way it worked in the past was comic book shops everywhere started losing customers. They weren't making nearly enough money as they were at the beginning because they were all hyper focused on what? Just comic books. They didn't widen the net of nerd culture. They only did comics. So when they were looking around like, what else can we bring into the store? That's when they started seeing trading card games. That's when they started seeing, you know, just like a boatload of possibilities. Tons of interesting things that they would expand to. That expansion helped them. It helped them thrive much harder than it used to. It also brought rise to like the standalone tabletop game stores because of the interest that people had. So like the fact that something like this was born out of the necessity of needing to expand sales culture and practice for like nerd things to then go from that to being like, ah, we don't have to do that anymore. It's like, you had to do it in the first place for a reason. I think maybe you don't just chuck that out the window immediately. Maybe think it through a little. Assess your options. Well, manga, I mean, manga was out. It's just manga got popular. Like, I used to get manga way back in the day. Like, easy mode. Oh my god, dude. Okay. Stop it. I'll just rework it with paint. Doesn't matter. It's always been a gambling addiction, though. The boxes. The friggin' card games. Always gambling. It's just more defined as gambling now. Thanks to the community around it. But man, they just need to friggin' recenter themselves. There's like a laziness to it, right? They have 3 employees. When I used to go there, I think they only really ever had 2. And they were consistent at running events and doing like cool stuff. Consistent. The fact that they have 3 employees and they barely run events anymore. I don't know, man. It just feels so off. And they have competition in the area, like real competition. For cards and stuff. There's 2 really awesome locations within like 5 minutes of their store. Not even kidding. Just 2 locations that are, in my opinion, as incredible, if not more incredible than their store when it comes to card games. One of them has this beautiful setup for playing. Absolutely beautiful. Big, big window. Tons of tables. Just nice open areas. Versus them, which is like all indoors. Right next to the bathroom, which just smells horrible because they don't clean it. Or at least not clean it well enough. I am using the Mobius 0.3 from Gallery. This is the one they sent me a little while back. Hashtag ad in that situation. It's a good airbrush. It's good. It's very, very affordable. Very cheap. Very cheap. And very adaptable, too, because it was cool when I was looking through their storefront. And I found out, like, if I wanted to turn this airbrush from a 0.3 to a 0.5, I just got to buy 2 parts. I'm good. I could increase the well that's up here to a much larger size. The component, like the modular component nature of this airbrush is just really good. Which I enjoy. We might have to hit this with a second layer. We need to wait for this all to dry. And then I might need to go over it once more. Because it is getting very humid where I'm at, so my white primer does not have a good time when trying to stick to a flat or rounded surface. I might need to lightly go back over it. We got a little bit of time. I don't know if we're going to get into like the detail of painting, but we'll definitely probably get through the airbrush today. We just got to do the magenta to blue on these and then gold on everything else. Yeah, man. Gallery seems to be a good company, at least relatively decent in terms of like the products they create. I haven't had too many issues with them. Again, a lot of the times though with airbrushes, it's all about what you choose. There is a lot of weird, I guess, like I want to say culture. Yeah, we'll go with subculture within airbrushes. Like I found out through some people at my store, the one store I play at, that there's a company that makes airbrushes, like an actual warehouse, right? And that warehouse just provides these airbrushes to people. So when you talk about like Iwata brushes and stuff, this warehouse creates those airbrushes, and then Iwata like just buys them and puts their stamp on it and goes, these are Iwata brushes. So there's another company that looks into that factory as well and then buys them. And they're pretty good quality. They look a little different, but they're the same like high quality. But the company that's buying them from the same warehouse, which I got to look into, it's like their brushes are comparable to Iwata for like a quarter of the price. It's like it's this weird situation of just like, why is this the case? Yeah, we'll let it dry for a bit. We'll hit it with a second coat. So we'll just talk. We'll chill while this dries. Let me pull up some images. Because, yeah, I did an RTT on Saturday. Took Infernal Lance to it. Changed some elements of Infernal Lance. Legionaries was for comp play. Updated Legionaries or total new box. Yep. IRL battle reports. Did I put them in here? I put some of it in here. Let me go to the other spot then. Battle reports. Oh, I did the one picture. Oh, hang on then. Hold the phone. Oh, there we are. Open link. Okay. So, too many games. Behold. So this was the terrain. Terrain was set up differently per table. It looks like they just tried to do a bunch of different layouts in sequence. There were 9 tables here, and then 2 tables they had for testing over here to show people stuff. So in total, 11 tables, which would be 22 players, which when the initial sign up for this tournament was 34, got me a little worried. Absolutely got me a little worried here. They had me in the first half. But this was in a big hall. They had a lot of play areas over here, a lot of play areas over here. They were showing off, I think, Marvel. They had like a ton of stuff. I think they did Halo Flashpoint. I think this was Halo Flashpoint. They had a World War II game over here. I think it was one of the new ones. It's like Bolt Action or something. Or not new, but like different ones. Not the Flames of War one, but like whole different. This was the Conquest section, I believe. I know we were talking about. What's up, Arch? What's going on, Arch? I see you in Universal. I don't see you on my... Oh, I know. Universal would just be Twitch, not the other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Something updated. And now I'm like only kind of seeing font. But yeah, this was the tournament. I got there. I was kind of expecting 30 people to be there and for everyone to be like, how are we going to do this? But a lot of people called out because this convention is $70 a ticket for a day. So everyone that came here who didn't see an entry fee found out it was $70 because they didn't look into the convention, which in the description clearly stated, hey, you have to be able to get into this convention to get to the tournament, so look into it. And I guess none of them did. So it went from 34 people down to 30, like a couple days before. A few people dropped. And then there was like a Discord that they have. The Discord they have had a lot of the people in it going like, yeah, we'll be there. And then all of them were like, oh my God, it's $70. We are not going to be there. So it went from 30 to 10. So we had 10 people. We only needed 5 tables. Hooray! Now, that all being said, let me pull this up. Game 1. Let me see if I can make absolutely sure. Type, or home rather. Where's my game 1? Ah, here it is. I hate that I can't just like open the image in another, like, I hate Google Images. I hate it so much. Yep, went from 30 to 10. That was like the first big disappointment was when it went from 30 to 10. I was like, "Aw." Because last year there was maybe like 15 or 16 people, so it was like cool. But maybe it's just the community that was around it that didn't understand how it was going to work. Like maybe, I don't know. Either way, round 1. This was a Necron team. It was Annihilation. So a lot of just like the hoverbots, a lot of Scorpex. The thing about this game is I did tell him and everyone else I played, right? Like everyone else I played. I was like, look guys, what you have to contend with is I can increase my movement by 3 with a buff. That is a scary prospect because I have carnivores which means you're going to get hit with frickin' 17-inch move carnivores. I had my Despoiler with Gatling guns, 36 attacks. I can give it sustained 1. I can turn off your cover with it. You need to be worried about this. It's AP 2 damage 2. This guy can drop mortals, create auras, force battle shocks. You need to be worried about this. No matter how many people I told this, they kept putting all of their stuff on their line. And I would go, okay. And lo and behold... like, I would just... whoa, and just clear stuff. And this is like all my carnivores getting... this carnivore basically, or these 2 carnivores, chewed through everything he had down here in like 2 turns. I had a stalker here that this killed. This killed the stalker. The following turn, all of this was dead except like these guys. No, these guys were dead because this guy came up here. So everything he had on the field was dead by turn 3. I lost my Abominant, I think. He targeted the Abominant, but like he couldn't deal with this. He couldn't deal with this. I had 1 carnivore full health that was basically killing everything up here. 1 carnivore with full health that had killed everything in his side. This is Linchpin, by the way. We're doing Old Pariah Nexus. So this wasn't Linchpin. This was Ritual. Here was my ritual point. He decided not to make a ritual point. So by turn 3, I could have made another ritual point, like over here, and just stood on it. I could have had the middle one. I could have had this guy standing literally between the 2 spots. Just not caring. This would have been a score of 80 for me. This is where my first mistake came into play of not paying attention to what would be considered, I guess, tournament culture. You need to see what your score is, and I need to beat this into my skull. You need to see what your score ends up being in full. Because if you don't... let me make sure... yep. You get this. 100% I get full score here, and whatever my cards are. At almost full, if not full. 100%. He was... this is basically, like, that was his score. Like, this is the end. His list, according to him, was skewed into Space Marines. He would easily be able to kill Space Marines, and he did. I think he took on his... well, he took on something slightly less than Space Marines. He took on Sisters of Battle, and he crushed them. He absolutely crushed them in the final round for his run. But he was not ready for mine. My stuff just out-attacked him, outmaneuvered him, outdid everything. It could do whatever the hell it wanted for the course of the entire mission. Didn't matter. It was just able to do stuff and go through all of it without issue. But I should have had like 80 points here. We were talking at the top of the stream, to anyone who just popped in, that this conceptually ensured that I couldn't get top 3. Had I done 80, I might have been able to get top 3. Had I done 80. Had I actually talked it out and figured out the final score, I could have probably got top 3. Now, granted, if I got a higher score like I just was pointing out, there's a chance I would have been paired in the second match against the person who was winning the whole thing on a map that would have given whoever went first way too much of an advantage. Like, way too much of an advantage. Let me introduce you to what everyone at the entire tournament considered the worst map overall. All right, worst map overall. Here you go. Horizontal deployment. Red line is mine. I think he has tape on his, but all of his stuff infiltrates or scouts, because this is the recon detachment. But yeah, The red dice is my line. I played as far back as possible to prevent his plasma line from being able to kill anything in turn 1. This is Linchpin. So for those unfamiliar, starting turn 2, you get 3 points for holding your home objective, 5 for everything you hold in a no man's land. I don't think you get anything for this other than like denial points and stuff, and then denying him the ability to score. Because if you don't hold your home, these are all worth 3. So it's either 3 5s or all 3s. Which I think every phase caps at 15 points for hold. So if you don't own your home objective and you own all 3 of these, you'll only get 9. You won't get the 15. You have to own basically all of it to get full score. So this was his list. This was Jail Guard. He had maximum number of guardsmen. I think this is Ursa. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with Ursa. No one near me. No, yeah. So the opener for this was me standing across from him going, do you want to change the deployment? Do you want to do like ladder, or do you want to do diagonal? Do you want to do long or short edge? Do you want to change, or do you want to do quarters? Do you want to change the deployment? And he was like, let's ask. And we asked the guy running the tournament, can we change the deployments, or can we maybe like turn this building and this building and this building and this building or something? Can we turn buildings? Is there something we can do to make this a little more balanced? And he went, no, that's the map. You have to do that. Okay. The guy that was over here on this table, when we first brought up how bad this table was, looked over at us and went, yeah, that's why I lost. And I saw his score. The guy he played against scored 100 points, and he scored like 12. He got picked up off the board in a turn. That was not good. So we were like, all right, I guess we'll play it out. You'll roll dice, see what you can do. He got first, okay? So he got first. This was Raise Banner's Linchpin. Raise Banner's Linchpin. So he moved all of his battle line onto objectives. Got 4 victory points for all the Raise Banners. Did like, I think he had extend battle lines or something. Like he full scored turn 1, which, I mean, this is an effective list. And by the way, there's a chance, mild chance he's watching. I don't know. Because I did tell a few people who were at this tournament, like, that I do this. This was the guy that the last year I played had all tanks, and we had no terrain on the field. And I was playing Thousand Suns, and he tabled me by turn 2. So a little bit, like a good 70% of me is like, I really wish this was more of like a balanced game so I could see how this works. Like, I really like this list, and I want to test it. I needed to see how it worked against this. But this is not, I do not put this in my folder of like, that's how it worked. No, that's not how it works. That's how this map beats this guy. But the rest of me was like, this is karma. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The rest of me was like, this is karma. This is karma for him two turn tabling me after an hour and a half of shooting with guardsmen. This is that moment. But yeah, Abominant here. I think 2 carnivores and a stalker on this side. Carnivore and a stalker. The despoiler here, tyrant here, off point. Because I didn't want, like, I didn't exactly know how this was going to work. So I didn't want this to be able to be like, we're over here now because your tyrant's here and we're just going to kill it. We're going to fire 1,000 shots at it and hopefully chip it to death. I didn't want that to be the case. I didn't think it would be the case, but I also didn't want it to be the case, okay? Didn't want that. Now, that being said, he got first turn. He did move up. I wonder if I have pictures. I do. I have a couple starting pictures. I have the follow-up picture, though. Let me download this. So he moves up. He shoots, I think, this guy, because he can see them. Like, he was able to shoot this way with him, this way, and then this way. Like, he wanted these 2 guys dead. I think he did, like, 2 wounds to this guy and, like, 3 or 1 to this. He didn't do a lot. I did more damage to myself turn 1 when I took all of my morale checks across the board to see the leadership checks to see if I enhance without taking D3 wounds. I think I did more damage to myself than he did to me. And then this happened. This was a picture from turn 2. This was, I think, the top of my turn. Because I went second, so this was the top of my turn in turn 2. Oh, no, this was turn 1. He didn't bring the rest in. He brought more in after this point, and then I picked it up off the board. Like, he brought it in, shot, didn't do enough with anything here. Like, he brought this guy down, like, 4 wounds. This guy down, like, 2. I think this guy died. No, this guy lived. He might have died. I think he did kill 1 guy. But I think he killed 1 dog. I wiped everything that was over here. He had nothing left. This is a tray of dead stuff. So again, I picked Call the Horde because he had a bunch of 20-man units. At the top of round 2, his turn, when it got to melee phase, I finished Call the Horde. I had 5 total Call the Hordes on my card at the top of turn 2. Because when a despoiler... So the big thing about this list is the redundancy and durability comes from benefit of cover doubling up. Like, he can double up benefit of cover. I think he gets these guys to either 4s or 3s to save from that, unless you've got minuses, of course. So, like, this is a lot of bodies, durable. It usually has -1s to hit, feels no pains. This is a good list I'm going into here. For all intents and purposes, what I am fighting here is a good list. I do not think otherwise in this moment. That, oh, well, this list probably wasn't going to beat anyone. No, 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 no. He's fighting me because he won his first round. To be clear. He's fighting me because he won his first round. It is a good list. Good list. But when my despoiler pops over here and goes... So it's the cover that helps you? And he goes, yes. And I go, 1 command point. I'm going to ignore cover with every weapon this thing is about to shoot at you with. You're going to have to deal with D6 plus 1 blast. 36 shots that I can split to 2 things of 18. As well, I'm popping his bonus so he can have sustain 1. Almost every squad on the field. You'll see, like, 1 guy's missing here. Every squad he has at least 1 guy missing in it on the front line, as well as I think back here. There was a big squad here that I just crushed completely because I rolled really well on the despoiler sustains, and then I think this guy finished them with the plasma gun. I was just like, let me just get rid of him. So I shot him with the plasma gun. But yeah, my first buff I picked. Round 1, top of round 1. If you are below starting strength, you take battle shocks. Welcome to the Thunderdome, kids. The moment turn 2 started, I went, hey man, everything within 9 inches of any of these guys who's missing 1 person minimum takes a battle shock at -1 right now. And that was it, man. That was it. Awesomely, though. And, like, he's playing well. He was knowledgeable because he knew this. Like, we knew top of this game that this was the worst skew he could have possibly gone into. I needed to brick all of my rolls. He needed to spike all of his rolls. That was his only chance. I spiked once and then went average outside of that. He spiked, I want to say once, but not with, like, a lot of stuff. One thing he did spiked decently, but then everything else he did was average. It's just I turned off most of the stuff. So when my despoiler shoots into 2 squads and he has to save them... Actually, no, he couldn't save them because I was like, I'm ignoring your cover. All he could do was take feel no pains, and per person it was 2 feel no pains. And they only have 1 health because the despoiler is 2/2 for its AP damage. Like, that was it, man. He gave 1 squad a 6-up invuln from go to ground. But that was it. This was just too much. So, that being said, through all that insanity, Da, 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 da. Closest I've ever been to a full score in a competitive game. And I do really lean into the map being the reason. I do. Do I have a picture of the last round? By this point in time in the game, I was so burned out that I started to forget, like, oh, I should probably take pictures of things. I had that round. I had this round. I don't think... No, I think I just have the score. Last round was against a player that I saw last year. He played Tau last year. And his whole thing was, like, he was, a Tau player. Nice dude. He was really looking forward to playing me because he really liked how my Thousand Suns looked. And we were some of the few people who had painted armies. Oh, phone call, hang on. Might be about dinner. Okay. So yeah, this was this match. And I was playing the Tau player that wanted to play me last year. He was playing, what is it? Retaliation Cadre, which I knew was really powerful before, and then they nerfed it so it wasn't as strong, but it's still doable. It was still manageable. Still playable. We played on that same first map that I played the Necrons on. So it was Ritual. It was just like, decent map setup. Diagonal. Basically the same thing. I tried to run it back, but I didn't quite know what to do because Tau... This was in my last 2 years of playing this game. This was my first time playing a Tau player. There's just not a lot of them locally. I know there's a few further north of here, which is... He played. The first place player played as well. He's also from that area. When I went up there to Palladium to play a couple tournaments, it's like an hour and a half to the north almost. It's the same thing. It's just like you go there and there's like Tau players. And then I come down here, or I go further south from here, there's no Tau players. It's just very weird. So it was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of struggle. I had some good spikes. He had some good spikes. I surprised him with the durability that the Knights have. Like, the Knights do have a good chunk of, like, scary durability that you do not expect. It can be very difficult to deal with, especially if, like, you think you're doing well, and then all of a sudden I roll really well on my Feel No Pains, and I'm just standing up with, like, 10 wounds left, and then you're staring at it like, well, I can't kill it now. I don't have anything that could easily put that damage out there. This is gonna suck. But it was a good back and forth. I thought genuinely that at this point in my head, that was kind of where I was thinking, like, oh my god, because I didn't score out my first game, I think I'm not in top 3. Because, like, this was the game that really clenched both of us to, like, try to maximize our output potentials. Literally, if one thing went slightly more my way, like, you'll see that I didn't score anything at the beginning of the game. This is why I didn't score anything at the beginning of the game. He had 2 characters. One was all the way on the back of the field. The other was off field. And then marked for death turn 1 when he had everything off. Everything was, like, way outside of my carnivore reach. Like, I couldn't. the moment I drew those cards versus him getting area denial, which, yeah, I stopped him from recovering assets by blowing up one of the guys that was doing it. And then I think he just, I don't think he did this. I think he actually just decided to sack it because he was like, oh, I just got to do the actions. And I went, no, we're doing Pariah. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to sacrifice this card. I was like, yeah, it's the worst card in this entire system. I actually tried it. That was a mistake. I shouldn't have tried it. I should have sacked it. And then, you know, nothing worked. Nothing went my way. Side mission wise, I did mains decently, but like out of steam here, he'd basically killed everything but my Tyrant and I think one War Dog. We rolled it out though, and my last War Dog went down, I want to say here. He wasn't able to get better than Baby Engage because he couldn't get into my quarter in considering his position and his speed. But he was on multiple points. He went to middle, he went to his own for a cleanse, and he had 3 points in mid because I had to leave one to go get something. Like, I wouldn't have gotten, I think, this and this if I didn't leave the point he went to go capture. And because I went to the point that I did to get these, he then piled onto that point with everything he had to out OC my Tyrant. And that's just how it works. That's the way the game goes. This was so close. We did so well denying each other main. We did so well denying each other, he did really well denying me secondaries. So did the deck of cards, if we're being honest. The deck of cards worked its magic at preventing me from scoring. But we did what we did, and it was really good. But yeah, he won. Overall, final score of the game put me in 5th out of 10th, so middle of the pack. Again, like we were talking about at the top, had I actually scored out the first round, I might have done better or worse, depending, because matchups are done by victory, but also, I think, score a little bit. If not score, then I would have definitely done better, because if I still went against the same person round 2 on the same table, that would have just been a near perfect score. I would have been put against the other Tau player at the end, I think, because the Custodes player was contending for first as well. That's why he went into the Tau player. He went into the Tau player on my second table, the one that Tau loves and is able to just kill everything on. So that's absolutely crazy that happened. But yeah. I could have probably got second or third if I scored out first. My first round. And I got to remember that. I got to mark it down. It's just one of those situations. You have to learn it. You have to do it. If you don't, I mean, you're not going to be able to really finish these kinds of things. Let's take a look at how we're doing over here. But yeah, that was the Rogue Trader tournament this weekend. It was good. It was fun. I certainly enjoyed taking part in it. How is this still wet? We just talked for like 30 minutes. Probably get thinner or something. Thinner makes it dry faster. I didn't even put flow improver in this. I don't know, man. The white is just not doing good today. At least the black primer went on proper, like it usually does. I rarely have to mess with my black primer. Rarely. But man, once in a while, the white primer just has to act up. Has to act a fool. I was already planning on doing a second coat, but didn't really want to, right? Like, you can plan on it all day, but then realizing you actually have to do it is just like, oh my god, dude. Why are we on the struggle bus right now? Man, not a lot of viewers today. Streaming's been slow. I gotta get some videos out. We're gonna do a video on the tournament, specifically from the perspective of the list. A little bit of storytelling, because I did not get enough pictures or B-roll. I really should have tried, but ended up not doing it. We'll just do quick hits. Maybe the quick hits will keep it from pooling. Whoa. Still absolutely consider myself to be a Thousand Suns player. Oh, completely. That was a mistake. Completely forgot. Should have really hit this weapon arm first. Bam. Slight extra layer. So the next Rogue Trader I know of is this Saturday, but I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not doing one so close back to back. I know we're trying to paint this guy as soon as possible. But this is one of those situations of just like, eh. Ugh. We could move all this over. And then get to work on the gold at least. People did love the paint job, though. They loved how my knights looked. So, always cool. Always cool to see people get really interested in some of the stuff you work on. Okay. Gold. I like gold. Ah, there it is. Vallejo gold, to be particular. Hopefully, I have enough. I have 2 bottles of it. One's pretty much almost out. That would be this one. This I need to be a bit careful with at how much I pull back, because this will drain almost immediately. Hell yeah. Like a big old gold brick. Some of these go on. Almost out. There we go. Second bottle. Where are you? This one is basically full, which is good. Because this guy definitely needs this. Let's get that much in. These I know I gotta be careful with. You can kind of see with the missile racks this guy has, the STL they use, they basically just copy pasted the Havoc launcher and just put it next to each other. This is very much just two Havoc launchers just stacked on top of each other. Didn't miss anything, right? Oh, this is going to be a weird one. I need to do like the underbellies of these guys. So I'll just get that done. To drain it, I can always manually paint with the rest. Hopefully you're all doing well. It was fun though. I'm really hoping to hunker down this week and actually focus on videos. I know we're doing hobby. I honestly should have just been doing a video today. But I mean, we'd be doing this anyway. The detail components after the airbrushing, maybe I'll just do on my own time. Because like genuinely, I need to clear this table off. I need to get a set put up so I can record. I can get the B-roll done that I've been waiting to get done for a while now. Like, there's a lot I really need to do. We absolutely need to get back into videos. Streams were fun, but like, man, the swings of highs to lows, like to go from 4 streams at the top of last week in a row that all broke 200 viewers in the first hour to today, 58 views in 2 hours and 13 minutes, which I know 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock is like the worst time. I think those top of the week streams did well because they were all like 5 to 9. That's really what it felt like. And then coming back and being like, whatever. Just killed the momentum. Ugh. All right, let's get magenta. Cerulean hue. Guessing it was this one. The thing is, viewership's down everywhere. Like, even on Twitch, I remember having, like, 10 to 15 viewers all throughout that whole time, too. Now I'm just down to 2. Internal struggles intensify. Alright, let's get these guys out. Best way possible. Yeah, I mean, YouTube's always doing something weird in the background. It confuses a lot of people. They always make it sound like they're trying to do something like good for the community, but then it's one of those situations where it always is just like, and they made it worse. Pog. Manually paint that. Alright, so the goal here. Lightly but effectively build up that magenta. Like that. This is pretty much the same exact method I used, God, beginning of the year or 2 years ago or whatever with these guys. It's been a while. Maybe it's just the season. The thing is, on one hand, yes, I stream a lot and I'm always worried about the numbers and whatnot. On the other, I've also watched like fairly big and consistent streamers start talking about numbers as well, but they of course talk about it from the years of experience. And for them, like, this is the slow season. Because, like, this is when the sun's out. This is when it's not, like, constantly snowing or garbage. So in a lot of countries, most of the people are like, oh, I'm gonna go outside. We're gonna live it up. Let's do the backside too. I actually want to do the backside. In a lot of the pictures of the Rampager, he's always like a different color than the rest of whatever the army or, I guess, house that you choose ends up being. Where's the mask? Oh, there it is. Simple. But I'm gonna make this one the same because this isn't always gonna be a Rampager. This is the magnetic one. So now I have 2 magnetic Questoris classes. I do think it'll be better to do this than the second despoiler with the cannon, even though I did just buy the Havoc missile launcher 3D print object. We did just buy the Havoc missile launcher, but if it's anything like the other 3D printed objects I own, it's going to weigh a ton, which means I'm not going to be able to magnetize it to the top easily like I can with the lighter ones that Games Workshop puts out, which is just like I'd have to buy a whole other Questoris Knight. I'm not going to lie, there's a chance we do. If we do buy another Questoris Knight, I need to work up the cannon and the Gatling gun there so I can stop using the 3D prints that I have. Not because it's like, no one will let me play. But because, again, they weigh a ton. They're the heaviest thing currently on my despoiler. I am so worried they're just going to fall off mid-game and, like, crush something. And I don't want that to be the case. I like how they look. It's just, man, 3D print weight is crazy. Dude, an entirely 3D printed Knight has to weigh a ton. There's no way. Like, maybe if you switch over to, like, that bamboo 3D printing stuff. There you go. The key thing is to be very mindful while painting this, because the next stage is to basically take black paint and to hit everything that needs to be gold with the black to flatten it, and then hit it with the Vallejo gold on top. Hit everything with the flat yellow that I want glowing, like all these little horns and stuff coming out of them. This has to be a way. Like I can't just like leave it where my airbrush might hit it with more blue. got putty on a lot of this stuff we're going to have to remove. Yeah, last one. Don't fuck up, don't fuck up. Ah. Boom. Can we get 3 big booms in chat? You don't have to. That's cringe as hell. Saw the meme. I guess someone, they were streaming or something and someone posted like a super chat or whatever, and it was just like, my brother died recently and I'm really sad about it, and they read that out loud and they were like, oh, that's too bad, guy, let's get 3 big booms in the chat for his dead brother. It's just so wild. That was out of pocket. You're familiar with those guys, right? Like the that family with like the Rizzler and everything. We bring the boom. It was like a short. They were live streaming, but I think it was like on YouTube, the vertical stuff, right? YouTube vertical streaming. And seriously, it was just them doing that. That just like popped up middle of the stream, and they just read that out and did that. It's crazy. Three big rooms in his chat for his dead brother. What? But yeah, otherwise, Too Many Games was pretty fun. That was the whole convention I went to for my the other channel I work with. We were invited down, so, you know, free entry for a whole week. The best part is the gaming area where I play my tournament is right next to the side door, meant only for the people with VIP badges, which is what I had. So I got into the tournament. This is the crazy thing, man. This convention security is getting out there, which I kind of get. Like, I'm not putting it down. I'm not pointing out like, oh, they should just cut security down. I get it. There's some like shitty people that go to this thing. We actually knew one of the bouncers. I gotta do the airbrush drain. So 3, 2, 1, loud noises, everybody. We knew the bouncer, and he was like, yeah, I had to remove people. I had to remove a couple people who were being creeps to the cosplayers. I was like, yeah, we have bad stuff there. But the main reason the security was kind of as crazy as it was... Ugh, my hand's all sweaty. Is because there's voice actors. And the voice actors that go to these types of things have a lot of demands. Like a lot of requirements, I guess, before they'd be cool going to your convention. So this, I think last year the way the convention worked, there was like a 2-layer system. You would go through the front door and there were like 2 security lines with metal detectors and things. This time around there was 1, so there was only 1 pass through. If you set off the metal detector, you had to step to the side. They had to go through all your stuff. But it like drastically slowed down the pace of which people could get through the security. Of course it would. So day 2, when I go there... Let me clear some of this. Day 2 when I went there, and it was, you know, the tournament was supposed to be that day. The line was around the building, like twice. So everyone was waiting in line to get... the people who were trying to get to the tournament had to wait in line. They just had to. Meanwhile, my ass got to just walk through the side door and go set up. Now, of course, this heavily slowed down the tournament, because not everyone was there by the time it was supposed to start, thanks to security. We are back. I don't know. It was a weird situation. I gotta scrub clean this because this smells terrible. We leave something in panel. Oh, water smelled so bad. Do 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 do. I also forgot to do the weapon like I was going to try to do. I guess that's sort of fine. Although it's not really. I'm almost out of high flow chartreuse. Yeah, they had a lot of stuff. It's culture though, retro convention culture. I think it's gotten worse, man. The vendors are now, I think, all of the mindset of like, I only want to bring my most expensive stuff. I'm going to market higher than what like a lot of the online stores and price charts and stuff say. Like I was there with Mystic Ryan. He was looking for specific games. He did what every nerd looking for retro should be doing, which is starting up like a sheet, like a note system, checking all of the prices on average for the different qualities, specifically usually the quality you like. Don't just like look up the title, look up to make sure that the things you're seeing the prices for, like complete in box, you know, disc has been checked. Like what's the tier you're looking for and how much is that tier? How much is that gateway price? That's the key thing. So he did all that, had all the pricings for a bunch of PS1 games he was looking for. And then when he got there, he found them, but they were all like $30 more than what he had seen online. Now, I did the thing I'm built in for and, you know, fed the chaos of it. So when he was standing there like, I mean, it's just too much. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Which, I mean, that's the healthy attitude to have. I'm standing there going, yeah, but you have it here. You can see the quality. You can double check that the disc is intact. If you order it offline because someone's telling you that that's the case, you might not get it that way and you could get scammed. He was like, yeah. I don't think that really weighed into his decision at the end of the day. But I'm all about the chaos. He did end up buying some. He got a slightly better deal than what he would have at this specific location. But yeah, everything he looked at was just way more than it should have been. And then when I was looking around with like racks and stuff for things, it just felt like everyone had the same thing, and it was because the things they had were all like the most expensive. Which, I mean, that's not right. Like, there needs to be some variety. When we used to go to this convention back before the spike in the retro game market, the sheer variety of what people had was always so cool. You could find crazy stuff. I don't think, like, I don't think I saw a single SNK handheld this year. Because, like, SNK handhelds aren't peak for expense, right? You could buy an SNK handheld working good condition with, like, a couple face covers for, like, $30. But if you're a vendor at this place and you're trying to make back the money for the table you purchased, maybe you don't bring that $30 SNK handheld because no one's going to buy it. At least that's what you think. And you'd rather take the much more sought-after $150 Sega Saturn game. Like, that's... Oh, I should probably be working. I want to work here. So... So yeah, if you try to bring the multi-$100 Saturn collection, the multi-$100 GameCube games, the multi-$100 just like anything. You're not bringing the $10 game that you're just like, we're not going to make back anything on that. No, it's barely going to scratch the surface. But meanwhile, I felt like to a degree Rax was walking around looking for some of those games. Like, interesting games that just aren't wildly expensive. And that kind of kills the atmosphere for me a bit at conventions like this. It really should be a place where, like, you go and then there's just that guy who's like, yo, I've got all these, like, 10-cent Xbox games that no one wants. When John and I ran a store, we would always fill like a crate before we left with Xbox games we didn't want to bring back. Because at the time, Xbox games weren't really sought after. People considered them to be bad. Like, no one really wanted them. It was the time of the Xbox 360. No one wanted OG Xbox anymore. We would fill a crate, we would take it down there, and we would put like 4 for $10 or something, or like 5 for $10 on it. And just let people come over. There was always one vendor who would walk over to our table, sit down in front of that crate, and just sort through it. Pick like 30 games out of it. And then try to get a deal. And yeah, we did it every time. Because at the time, none of them had value. It was all speculative at that point. And I think a lot of the games they would take still didn't really get value either. It was just like per game, they were getting them for like $1 or something by the end of it. And then they'd sell them for like $3. And it's just like 200% markup. And if it sold, but like, it's just an if it sells situation for them at that point. But that was gone. Like, we were talking to people who had boxes of old Xbox games. And I think Rax was looking for, like, a meh one. Oh, no, this was a long box PS1 games we were looking for. And I remember Ryan was looking for one and asked if they had it. And they said, yeah. And it was in box. It had everything. It was really good condition. And he was like, how much? They were like $175. And he was like, oh, that's a bit up there. They were like, yeah, well, I mean, we got to sell it. He's like, yeah, no, I get you. I'm not saying that to put any of you down. I'm just saying it is a bit up there. All right, things we need to do. I think we actually sepia wash first. Do I even want to sepia wash? Maybe we do. But then we walked away from the table and he was like, I just checked that game this morning. And it was like 70. Like in box with all stuff, 70. Sorry, I'm digging for my Seraphim Sepia. Know what's in here. Gonna need Argos Dunes later. We might do... No, let's not do that one. This is an almost out Garrigach Sewer. Let's do Fire Slayers for the off gold. Maybe some Snakebite. If I can't find Seraphim Sepia, we're Agraxing. Got it. Well, okay, being a scalper is like, that's one thing. I feel like the people at conventions are trying to increase the market, if that makes sense. Because, like, the market is set basically by, you know, hey, this is what people seem to be buying it for on, like, eBay and Facebook marketplaces and stuff like that, which gives you that attitude of, like, okay, that's what we have to try to sell it for. And that kind of just centralizes any of that. But then you kind of go a little too far, right? Seraphim Sepia. And you sort of try to manipulate the market by being like, well, I know it sells for 70. I'm going to sell it for 120. And I want basically other vendors in this place where I'm selling to notice that and then maybe increase their prices accordingly. Which feels weird because you think markets would shift by being like, as a vendor, I'm okay selling this for 70. I would make a profit. Rather than being like, well, I need to make the most profit. So I think if we all raise the price to 100 and like 20 instead of the 70 that would make us a profit in the first place, that'll be better for everyone. And it gets a little weird at times because it does feel very off. Because the question is always, for me at least, how long does this last? And are they going to burst their own bubble? Like, that would be the crazy part. If all these vendors have all this stuff, and then they do just enough to piss people off so that it, like, crashes the market, then what? They just have all this stuff they own that no one's purchasing anymore? Then what happens? Then where are we at? Where are we at? What are we doing? Alright, once sepia is done here. it's going to get bad at some point. And I think the downswing is going to be worse than you would expect. Or at least worse than anyone would expect, rather. Because I agree, for a lot of people, it would be cool if the market kept moving the way it was moving, but it's not going to. And at some point, you are going to make everyone lose interest. If you could see, all right, I don't know how many of you have shown at conventions or have done stuff at conventions. There is a look a person gets on the last day of the convention of, why the hell did I do this? Right? Like, they went there because they were told, like, oh man, you need to go to this convention because if you want to make money, this is how you make money. Like, they're told this. They're told about the convention. They're told that, like, it's like the El Dorado of video game sales or something. Or just whatever the convention is. Whatever the vendor does that matches the convention theme. I know the cost to get in is high. But when you walk out of there with, like, as much money as you're going to have, it's going to be so worth it. Hell, pay for like 3 tables because you're going to need the space for all your stuff that you're just going to sell through. But then on the last day of the convention and you're walking around the floor and you're looking around, you see people, man. You see their faces, like, they've got that look of like, oh God, like, I spent $700 just for these tables, not even for the hotel I stayed at. Not even for the food, the gas, not even for the car repair I'm going to have to put in, like, a little bit faster than I probably would have had I done this. Like, I put so much money in, and I barely broke even, if I even broke even, right? Like, there's that look on so many people's faces. There was that look on, like, everyone's faces on Sunday at this convention. I'm just walking around looking at stuff and seeing that the people there had most of their stock that they had on Friday still there. And it's like, dude, why did you do this? So maybe it's already starting? Maybe? Well, it's a tandem thing, right? Like, conventions aren't worth it because of the tandem nature of a convention. Like, the people running the convention want to make more money, so they raise prices for the tables, they raise prices for, like, all this stuff. This convention in particular has a lot of voice actors. And voice actors usually demand a lot of things, like hotel rooms, chauffeurs. There's a lot of, like, if you want the person who voices Luffy from this anime in English, you need to have this like stuff ready for them. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, the lines that exist for the voice actors, usually not that many people standing in them most of the day. So, like, I don't know the value of it, but this is one of those things where it feels like the people governing the convention think it's important, if that makes any sense. Which has kind of shifted, at least this convention. At first, Too Many Games was about getting content creators in there to try to attract people to it, because the content creators walk around, they talk to people, they do stuff. You know, that's kind of cool. I respect the hell out of that. Like, going to a convention to walk around and say hi to the fans, let's go. I loved that. People came over while, well, after I played my game. Like, they were they were, you know, considerate enough. But at the same time, had they come over while I was playing, I would have been like, hey, how's it going? Like, it's fine. It's kind of why I'm there. But dude, the voice actors, they sit at a desk. There's security around them at all times. You're not allowed to like run into them and have casual conversation. I don't know if they're the like the peak. It definitely changed the vibe of the convention a lot. It felt like it increased everything because I do feel like it's not necessarily all on the vendors for the prices that they were trying to mark things at. I do think part of it was the convention raising prices for all their tables. I remember listening to them. There was one of the big content creators attached to the people running this convention. They have a significant other who has like an art thing that they do. They do like crafts and like fun plushy stuff. And every year up to a point, you know, he would come to the convention. He was one of the bigger creators that pulled in a ton of people. And he would always ask, he'd be like, and, you know, my significant other wants a table. What can we do about that? And they'd be like, oh, we give it to you for a discount. Oh, we could just give you one. That's fine. You know, like, there was that attitude. And then one year they were like, well, they can sign up and pay, and hopefully they get one. That feels dank. Like, that is just like, whoa, okay, something's different now. And that different thing is that the people that they were trying to bring in to get more interest in the convention were very expensive to bring in. And that's all. It's a very weird situation. Every year there was a green room for everyone. We actually hang out with Charles Martinet one year because he was just in the green room. And we said hi to him because we were in the green room too. This year, the green room was right next to the voice actor room. The voice actor room was the only one with a coffee machine. That's what we got to deal with. I don't know. It's fun, but it's definitely weird. Vibes are getting off. Maybe they'll shift, but I don't know. Reason we're hitting these with black because I am going to be going over them with gold. Black is always a good start for gold. Sometimes I would go with like a really dark brown. Really dark brown is always pretty poggers. We're going to go black because it should allow the gold we're going to use, which is the Vallejo gold we used to the airbrush, to feel the same on the trim as it does everywhere else. Need to keep an eye on the time. We've got about like 30 minutes left before I gotta get moving. But yeah, I might do a lot of this off stream. Because I want them done, but I do also want to start working on videos. I can move most of the painting stuff over to my other table that's next to me and actually work through it there, while simultaneously setting this table up for B-roll. We can start churning some videos out. I just realized yesterday that I'm still waiting for the Eminence and Shadow movie to come out. I'm kind of sad right now. The part of me that really likes anime feels like nothing's happening with anime. Let's just jump into this nonsense here. I started watching Solo Leveling. Like, I binge watched it. Don't know why I said started. I started and finished in like a day. Because I know that's the big one. It's cool to see a manhwa become an anime. I think I've talked about this already. Just trying to fill the dead air. And like, the animation's cool, the fights were cool. And some of the moments in it that are pretty hardcore and like dark were like, ooh, this could be good. But then I started thinking while I was watching it, I was like, you know what this reminds me of? Tate no Yusha. Like, so much of it just feels like Tate no Yusha. The Rise of the Shield Hero. And it got me worried because the way Tate no Yusha ends so far and is going was like, oh, they took something amazing and turned it into something boring and trivial. And sort of meaningless. So I immediately had a moment of panic where I was like, dude, does that happen with this too? So I looked ahead. I skipped the wait for the new season and was like, all right, let's actually dive in. And I found out the story is basically done. I think the story now is following the main character's kid. And everything I read the whole way through just felt like Tate no Yusha. And how, like, it sort of is a nothing burger, right? The mystery isn't as cool as I thought it was going to be. Why he was leveling and all that, the reality of it, very boring. Very uninteresting, is how I'll put it. So that made me sad. The level of ex machina in the story, very extreme. Anytime he needs something to go his way, it's going to go his way. There's like no pressure. Once you get to like the fifth or sixth moment of like, oh, he could lose here, and then he doesn't because something specific happens. Like it hits you, and you don't know why you're watching at that point because it's just there's no stakes. There were never any stakes. Like he was about to lose technically to the Ant King. And in the moment, just before he loses, he gets like an enhanced ability that lets him win. That's interesting. But also, how often does that happen? Oh, all the time? Okay. I'm seeing the pattern. So, man, did I lose interest. And then I remembered an anime that was unabashedly a power fantasy. Tate, or frickin' Eminence in Shadow. Unabashedly a power fantasy. If you were like, hey, are there any stakes? That anime looked you square in the eye and said, no? Why would there be any stakes here? We're doing this for fun, sir. Yeah, Arch just had stakes. And knowing what's coming for Eminence and Shadow, because it's the Return to Earth arc, like, isekais don't normally do this. There's so much about what's happening that's like, I kind of want to watch. The dissonance of it. Watching one person have a power fantasy while an actual story unfolds around him, kind of funny. Watching him, like, hear someone say something cool and then he just repeats it over and over and over again because he wants to seem cool. Like he wants to have like the cool moment. When all he is just like a nerd that gets hyper focused on things. Pristine storytelling. Like seriously, pristine storytelling. And yeah, it just made me sad. Because kind of knowing that and then seeing solo leveling kind of become boring after. Like, next season's going to be bad. I hated the answer to, like, what the coma disease was. Like, it's just not that interesting. Just all cycled out of control. Oh well. But hey, Tata Nuyusha's getting a new season. I don't know what's going on anymore, man. I don't know. I wish I did, but I don't. I know we gotta do some of this because some of the back hangs over. This is a hard one to paint. It's good to get it out of the way now. This might be the last thing we pull off, though. Getting this thing lined up for the gold. Because there's a lot of little components all over that are also going to need to get hit with the black. I would love to show up to my local store with just a completely finished. Oh, you're watching? This guy's watching Bleach. He's doing it. Some people get stuck on shonens. I did actually rewatch Kaiju number 8 season 1 because I was like, oh, season 2's coming, so I decided to rewatch it. Sadly, around the time I started watching it was when I guess the writer for the manga or the light novel or whatever it is, he did something to the story, and now everyone's pissed off about the story. He did something. Everyone was excited to see the other kaiju because there was going to be this thing where you learned kind of where they all came from. You learned what actually was happening, the big reveal of the world, blah, 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 blah. And then everyone was like, oh, dude, all the other kaiju are actually still around. He's going to have to fight them? That's cool. Because, it's a shonen. It's unabashedly a shonen. But I guess something happened recently where he basically wrote out like half of them, or just ended the story before any of the others got revealed or something. It was something changed where there was a big setup and then no payoff. So the subreddit started freaking out. You a big Bleach head? You a Bleach guy? Bleach fan? Probably platinum blonde people. Got any others up the sleeve? You an old anime head? Got the Inuyasha joy? You're like, yay, Inuyasha. My one buddy was massively into Inuyasha. I don't know if he still does, but when he was younger, he would used to, like, once a year start the rewatch of Inuyasha. He would just let all the episodes run on his computer whenever he was doing something. Always on his side monitor. There was one, I think after Boruto came out, I think he had a moment where he was like, alright, I actually kind of want to watch Naruto. Just because when we were kids, we started watching it. Oh, phone call, hang on. Oh, nice. We gotta crush this bit because I gotta get out there and mow what I can of the yard. Supposedly my cousin's little kid was supposed to come over and do the yard, but we weren't sure. So I was told not to do it unless they didn't show up, and we didn't know when they were gonna show up. So it was a little bit weird. There's no way I complete this in a timely fashion. I'm just gonna have to call it here most likely. Slow day. Classic YouTube. Deciding I don't deserve viewers. Fantastic. Hopefully I can get some videos together soon. Thank you all to watch. Thank you all who actually came out and watched, though. That's always good. The Rogue Trader tournament was great. Maybe I'll put out a video going into a little more detail. Specifically about the army list. I do think Infernal for Chaos Knights is going to be very strong. I don't necessarily think it's going to be the most played, but I do think it is going to be very hefty as a list to have to defeat. There's a lot that goes into it, but it also circumvents maybe some of the best defensive options most armies have. The fact that you can stack so much potential into like a single model of just ridiculous shooting. I don't know, man. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I don't know who came up with the plan. There is almost no reason for this list to not get nerfed. After experiencing Tau shooting, I absolutely agree with people that in theory what just happened to Chaos Knights, even though their wounds or their toughness was reduced and their wounds were increased, it honestly felt more like a net positive. I had one carnivore that just outright survived 3 waves of highly powerful melee from a Necron army with like 1 wound. He tried so hard to kill it. He actually got it down to a point where he would have killed it statistically in round 1. But because of the, I think like 2 extra wounds they come with now, I had 2 wounds. So I wiped his squad. Like, clapback efficiency from Knights is just a bit much with the extra wounds. It genuinely begs the question, what do we think they're going to do? Do we think they reduce the wound count and keep the lower toughness? Do they increase the points values? Because it's gonna be something. And that something is gonna be brutal. Let me get this post. We'll have to see. My list has a gap of like 30 points. The current list. My current list I'm running still involves a Tyrant. I get it, the Tyrant isn't great. His chance to spike down during attacks is too high. He doesn't have a lot of redundancies, so like if my reliance is on whether or not the Tyrant blows up a vehicle, that should not be the play that I make, because it's not 100% that the Tyrant will win in those shots. But I do feel like the Despoiler and now the Rampager that I'm going to run, that's just enough. That's so good. The play now is to keep all my Carnivores right next to the Despoiler at the top of the game, so they all get to leadership check on a 6, improving their chances of not mortaling themselves. They then move 17 inches to get into combat, supported by a Rampager that possibly just moved 12. No, actually 15, because the Rampager starts at 12. So he gets to go 15 inches. And then he has an aura that if the Carnivores are within range of him in combat, they all get to reroll their 1s to hit. Like, dude, this is about to be one of the scariest lists I run. And that line, that entire line has sustain built in. I don't need to empower them for sustain, if that's the way I'm going. Worst case scenario, I can spend a command point and then give one of them that needs a little bit of a boost a re-empower to get lethal. But, like, beyond that, I don't know. I'm going to call it here, though. Again, I'm going to be working a lot off stream. There's a chance we don't stream anymore this week. I want to get videos, man. I really want to get some videos done. I'm so tired of only doing streams for like 2-3 weeks. I really need to get back into video making. So this all might get moved over to my other table so I can just paint to the side and then have all my recording equipment set up here with a set that involves terrain and stuff, and then we can start working on videos, getting some talking points done. Actually churn some of that, because hopefully YouTube didn't completely shut me out of that either. Because, wow, the swing between streaming at the beginning of last week and now is crazy. Absolutely crazy time. Thanks to those who did show up, though. Thanks for chilling. As always, if you aren't on it, you can join the Discord. Discord's usually a cool place to hang out, talk. We usually try to help with what we can there. I know Case and a couple other people are trying to do more with a tabletop simulator, and that is always a struggle. People are not easy to schedule things with. But who knows? Maybe with more people looking to help, it might get a bit easier. We'll see. Till next time, guys. Later.